I watched Christy starring Sydney Sweeney, so you don't have to. Or maybe you should because the movie's not that bad. I'll be honest with you guys. I am not one for women's boxing. I don't care for it. I don't think it's very intriguing to me. Call me sexist, call me whatever you will. But I will say the story of Christy Martin, which I did not know that well beforehand, aside from the preliminary research of, oh, I'm going to see a boxing movie. What's it actually supposed to be about? Wow. So if you saw one of my previous movie reviews about The Smashing Machine starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you know I wasn't so hot on that. And I'm like, oh, wow, that wasn't very good. But Christy? Okay, so I'm going to put it to you like this. I went and saw this movie with my wife. And the way I know this movie was good is she did not fall asleep during it. She did not fall asleep. And my wife falls asleep during movies all the time. So this is a good movie and you want to check it out. Before we get into this episode, guys, look in the description, Substack link, Discord, and like and subscribe. Do all that. It helps the channel. Put everything, all the Sydney Sweeney that you don't like about her because of the jeans ad or whatever, shut up. This is a really good movie. It is a intriguing movie, and I will even say it's everything that The Smashing Machine wanted to be. It was a coherent story filled with drama. It's not really a boxing movie. It's more a movie about being true to yourself and true to your identity. Because like, everyone wants to be, oh, Sydney Sweeney's this far right, blah blah blah. Like she's playing somebody that's gay. Like, what more do you want from her? And she's playing somebody that's really awesome too. Like, if you don't know about Christy Martin, like Christy Martin was one bad chick. I mean, she really did bring women's boxing to the forefront in the 90s. And what they do a good job of in this movie is kind of explaining that. So yeah, the first like 2/3 of this movie is about boxing, but it's not. It's set in a world of boxing. But it's about Christy Martin being true to who she is, because she's married to Jim Martin, and Jim Martin is if you don't know, spoiler alert, guys, played by Ben Foster. Jim Martin tried to kill Christy Martin. They were married, and yeah. This performance from both of them were just fantastic, because you see Christy Martin go from the cocky, just nobody can beat me attitude, making fun of people and making like just being incredibly rude and disgustingly disrespectful to her opponents, until she runs up against Layla Ali. Now, if you know that last name from the world of boxing, yes, that's Muhammad Ali's daughter. And Layla Ali in real life just beat the snot out of Christy Martin, and obviously beats the snot out of her here. And that's kind of where the story starts to take its turn from boxing to be true to yourself, because Christy Martin kind of goes off on the deep end, can't get fights. It turns out her husband was not getting the fights for her like he promised he was. Man, it really did show like, oh, look at this cocky woman who's in the ring beating everybody, to someone who's totally dependent and totally taken hostage by a disgusting, vile, sick, terrible person, Jim Martin. Wow, it showed like you could be on top of the world but still be fighting your demons on the inside, and that's what the movie wants to get across. And Christy Martin did fight those demons, and Sydney Sweeney showed those demons well, because like she's so unsure of herself outside of the ring, doesn't know how like she's gonna make it in boxing. She's not making enough money, but in the ring she is the woman. She is the king of the world. You've got Don King in there. You've got like these great characters from the boxing world that are like made for TV, because like boxing at its heart wants to be TV. So this is made for TV with these characters, and they do a great job of bringing them to the screen, right? So that's what I liked about the movie. And like there was the scene where, again, spoiler alert if you're this far and you don't want to get the whole thing spoiled, but when Jim Martin tries to kill her, you know, there's scenes before then of domestic violence, and you don't get to see it. Instead they put you in the hallway, and he pushes her into a room across the hallway, and you hear it, and it's like your imagination is running, wow, what is he doing? And you know it's not good. But then like there's another scene where like spoiler alert, he stabs her multiple times, and it is gruesome. It was one of the most uncomfortable scenes I've seen in a movie all year. I mean, this is up there with like that movie Warfare, where the soldiers were in somewhere in Iraq. I forget where it was, and like everything's going haywire, and the comms are like, it was uncomfortable. Like, man, I was there watching her get stabbed in person, and then she gets up and walks out. So that's all the good. That's all the good. Now, the movie's not perfect. I'll give my rating at the end. The movie's definitely not perfect. I've got my gripes with it. First of all, we didn't get to see Holly home. It's an important part of Christy Martin's story after she lost to Layla Ali, and I understand why they didn't want Holly home in the movie, because it was like Layla Ali was this giant, taller than life figure that was like a meteor coming for the women's boxing world that Christy Martin built. Like, Christy Martin built women's boxing. And you've got this person who comes from the lineage of Muhammad Ali, somebody who's already torpedoed boxing proper and changed the sport for forever. You've got his daughter who was destined to do the same thing in women's boxing. And that's where you want to kind of turn it. But like, as a boxing and an MMA fan, like, I want to see Holly Holm beat her. You know, Holly Holm knocks out Ronda Rousey in MMA. She had a boxing career before that, beat Christy Martin. But there were that, and it was kind of, there were points in time where it was like the country accent that Sweeney was trying to do kind of was a little too much, you know. Really weird seeing her in a mullet, but that's the hairstyle she wore. You know, it didn't take enough risks. I felt like it was kind of part and parcel for what you expect to see in a fighting sport movie, a boxing sport movie. So like, where the Smashing Machine took way too many chances, I feel like Christy didn't take enough chances. I don't feel like they showed up the drug use enough because she was bad off on drugs. I don't think they took enough time to show you how much and how manipulative Jim Martin was in that relationship. I don't know if that was on purpose or it was just kind of overlooked, and you're trying to cram so much into a single movie. Also, like, the marketing, that's like not a critique on the movie, that's just more of a critique on the approach that these people had. I don't know if it was because of the whole controversy or whatever. I don't care about the controversy. I just want to watch a good boxing movie. But like, nobody know about this movie, and I have to tell everybody, like, oh, it's good, it's very good, it's a very good movie, it's enjoyable, it's worth watching. But no, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to market this movie. I don't get it. I'll never understand that. But the risk is my biggest thing. Like, it just doesn't quite take enough risk for me, and that's what makes a movie exciting. Kind of like in like Oppenheimer, when they explode the bomb and it just goes silent. Like, that's a risk, and they took it, and it worked out magnificently. This did not have enough. Like, kind of like Creed 3 took a risk of, oh, we're gonna take this fight out of a giant stadium and put it in this dark room. Like, that was a risk that kind of worked, but not really. It ended up being okay. Nothing like that in this. It was more like, all right, we've got our points, we're gonna hit our points, and that's going to be that. So overall, though, the movie's good. It's worth your watch. I always like going to the theaters. It's kind of my thing. If you want to wait till it comes out to streaming, please do go watch it. Go watch it in the theaters. I'll get you some popcorn, have a date night, and go have fun. I give it a good, strong 7.5 out of 10 on a true 1 to 10 basis, where 5 is average. Above average movie, kind of like a Rocky 3 type scenario, or kind of those middle Bruce Lee movies. One of those ones that you want to watch just to kind of understand the story of Christy Martin, and kind of see what she had to go through. What did you think of this, though? What did you think of Christy Martin and this movie? Did Sydney Sweeney do well? Let me know in the comments.